You, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the green belt, which don't mean it, and real belt is the ring belt, which is free. Who you talking about?
Can you talk about the difficulty of this decision?
Yes, it's very sad. It is very complicated to have to vacate a title, to withdraw recognition of a champion hurts very deeply.
And this is what TKO say. Why do you have to pay them? Don't pay them. Don't adhere to their crazy.
After the WBC took away Shakur's title, Terence Crawford says that people should not support the group and criticizes it for being cocky, having strict rules, and charging too much.
$1,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any of the other sanctioned bodies? Huh? To that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA?
Mauricio Suleiman has been charging Tupac Shakur a $100,000 fee for nothing, so Terence Crawford approaches him and tells him he can have the belt if he wants to.
You can take the fucking belt. It's a trophy anyway.
Mauricio Suleiman took Shakur's belt away after taking Terence Crawford's belt away, saying Crawford broke the rules and didn't make payments, so he lost his WBC belt.
He's super lightweight. Then he unified and became undisputed in welterweight against WBC champion, who was Spence, in a great fight. He petitioned to fight a final elimination bout in super welterweight against Madrimov and remain champion in welter. The WBC supported him. He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000.
He told X, "I just paid these dudes after my last fight. What the heck? Because you don't like Bud, I'm giving you $100,000 right now. Go after me." Saying they don't like the constant requests. Terence says that the officials get rich off of fighters while athletes are punished and then made to pay unnecessary WBC fees.
You know, and guess who gotta pay for it? Us fighters. We paying for y'all to come out here, have the time of y'all life, stay in the best hotels of y'all life, and it's all done on our dime. It's done on our dime. Do that sound right to y'all? It's crazy, ain't it? We the one out there getting battered, knocked upside our head, and every time we step foot in the ring, we gotta pay them a sanction fee like they the government. We getting taxed.
Stevenson gave $100,000 to some thieves who didn't earn it. Not you, Leilani. I'd rather give it to you, daughter. There was nothing the World Boxing Council could have done to cause this fight, but it is killing them. Get your belt. It doesn't make me. He is showing how angry he is. Roy Jones Jr., regardless of the dispute, removing a champion's belt is unfair, disrespectful, and reflects poorly on the organization. Many individuals were really outraged about it. I also don't want to get too deep into it. Only that he shouldn't have been stripped of his title if he didn't defend it.
A lot of people were really upset about it. And
I don't really want to get too deep into that. All I'm going to say is it's wrong for him to be stripped if he didn't even defend the title.
Yeah.
That's all.
In a very strong statement, Chris Manzo says that the WBC's demand for large fees from Shakur Stevenson is disgusting and unfair. In addition, he says that Shakur's money is his alone, and the group has no right to it, no matter how much he makes. Chris Manx says that the current system for sanctioning is flawed and should be thrown out because it unfairly targets athletes who already face a lot of physical and mental challenges in the ring. He says that players have to deal with fines, risks, and spending their whole lives on the sport while being asked to pay too much money by governing groups like the WBC.
Wicked and shady. as you can possibly get. And for the WBC to do this now, when sanctioning bodies are under attack, when the sanctioning system is under attack, this is a glaring example about why maybe they shouldn't exist. Maybe they shouldn't be in boxing if you are going to reach into the pocket of a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, ask for $100,000. According to Shakur, there's been no comment on this from the WBC. I asked for one. I talked to a member of their staff. I said, tell me what's going on here. And all I've seen is the Instagram post of the WBC saying they were stripping him. To reach into the pocket of a fighter for a fight that you have nothing to do with and asking for $100,000. I don't care how much money Shakur Stevenson made that night. That's his money. That belongs in his pocket. The WBC had nothing to do with it. It is disgusting. Disgusting that they stripped Shakur Stevenson of that belt. And Shakur would be right to never fight for a WBC belt.
Terence Crawford got into trouble with the World Boxing Council when he refused to pay a $300,000 fee after his fight with Canelo Alvarez. A lot of people thought Crawford had every right to say no. He asked why he had to pay such a large amount of money, pointing out that the IBF, WBA, and WBO had never whined about the fees he paid them. Crawford said that those groups just took their share without question, which showed that the WBC was making too many demands. Crawford said that his purses were his own business and that Mauricio Sullivan, the head of the DBC, had no right to ask for more money. Even though Crawford offered the standard 3% of his earnings, the DBC turned it down and wanted a much higher 6%, which was much more than what other companies wanted. Analysts pointed out that sanctioning groups often don't do much to help the fight besides giving out belts, which makes their large payments problematic.
I think Terence Crawford's well within his rights to say that I ain't giving you $300,000. Why? Like, why am I giving you $300,000? What for? And don't talk about my purse. Mauricio Sullivan saying Terence Crawford made 50 million. What's that got to do with you? No. And what I like as well about Terence, he said, look, I gave the IBF money, I gave the WBA money, I gave the WBO money. We haven't heard any of those organizations moan about the amount Terence Crawford gave to them. They're like, oh, we'll take it. Because ultimately, what are they doing? Apart from strapping a belt around your waist, what are they doing? And we'll get to that as well. So he then tried to give the WBC that amount of money as well. They clearly said, no, we're not taking that. We want a bit more. And then they're like, okay, normally we take 3%, but 3% of 50 million would have been too much. So you know what? We'll give you, we'll allow you to pay us 0.6.
Shakur Stevenson has never lost a fight, and no one has ever taken his belt. Even so, the WBC said his title was no longer valid when he went up in weight, saying that his absence had left a hole in the division. This decision meant that new fighters could battle for the belt, even though Stevenson had never lost it. The difference is important. The championship was taken away by the league, not because they lost. Stevenson's job won't be affected because this was just a technical or administrative matter and not a reflection of his skills or record. Finding the facts shows that Stevenson's accomplishments are not affected by the WBC's decision. His perfect record as a boxer continues to show that he is one of the best.
He ruled inactive at that weight class. So, despite nobody beating Shakur Stevenson, he is an undefeated fighter. Nobody took his belt. But for whatever reason, the WBC has decided him moving up has created some type of void and have now made and declared his title vacant, allowing the division to successfully move forward with new contenders. So in this case, Stevenson, he didn't lose his belt in the ring. Nobody beat him. He's still undefeated. The title was vacated administratively, which is a difference. And we need to establish the facts from the fiction. So nobody beat Stevenson. It doesn't really hurt his career, his official box rec, and it says he's suspended by the commission indefinitely. So I'm not sure if he has some type of injury, but usually when it says indefinitely, they got to get clearance from a doctor to come back. And again, this could be possibly from his fight with Shakur Stevenson. So this is a developing story, and we'll see ultimately how it plays out. What the WBC officially decides to do in terms of who's next and what's next. So what are the facts? What does this mean? Shakur Stevenson was not stripped for any type of misconduct. Shakur was not penalized per se, and Shakur Stevenson is not suspended. So it simply reflects the WBC has considered him no longer active at lightweight at this time. A bit political. That's the only thing that I can think of.
The BC's choice to take away Shakur Stevenson's 135-pound title is unique and controversial, says expert Oladipo. Stevenson, a boxer who has never lost, has said that he wants to move up in weight for a while before going back to the 135-pound class. Even so, the WBC said that his championship was null and void because he hadn't fought in a while, which let other fighters compete for the title. According to Oladipo, the problem shows how rigid and cumbersome the WBC's procedure is. Stevenson's last fight wasn't for the WBC title, but their rules said he had to pay half of the licensing fee as if it had been a title defense. Okay, Shakur Stevenson hits the WBC and says what he thinks about losing the 135-pound title.
Stevenson blast WBC and responds to being stripped of a 135-pound title. This is a bit wild. It's a bit wild, and the reason it's a bit wild, so many different reasons actually, but one of the biggest reasons is that Shakur's always said, I want to go up to fight Tio, but I want to come back down to 135. So basically, he's almost telling the WBC, let me go up there, I will come back down. And with what the WBC are going through right now, and this battle with Zuffa, where, you know, they've got some real big players and power over there, and they're saying F the belts, and WBC are fighting, saying none of the belts mean stuff. The last thing you want to do is have a public spat, a public back and forth with one of the biggest names in boxing right now. Now, Shakur Stevenson is one of the biggest names in boxing. And the thing about Shakur as well, you piss him off, this guy will go straight to social media and make it known that he's pissed off, and that's what he's done.
The expert thinks this plan is too much, especially since Stevenson has never lost his belt in the ring. Olau also says that the WBC's treatment of Stevenson is similar to problems they've had with other fighters in the past. This shows how the costs of sanctioning and the way things are run may cause winners and the organization to disagree. In the end, Stevenson's career is still going strong because the administrative stripping doesn't change his perfect record. However, it does raise questions about how fair and open the rules or orders for or from him are, which cost $100,000. Several of you may now say, wait a minute. It wasn't for the WBC in his last fight. What's going on with the WBO and the title? Why does the WBC need his money? There is a clause in the WBC that I think is either 7.3 or 7.4. Yes. If you hold the WBC belt, like Shakur Stevenson did, you have to pay half of the sanctioning fee as if the belt were on the line every time you fight. Does this make sense? Please let me check for it. I'm going to find it and read it to you, so I'm not going to paraphrase. This is very important, and I think it's a joke. This sounds like a joke to me. I really do. Okay. Okay, fine. Yes. Okay. Rule 7.3. This will also be shown on the screen. An expert says Shakur Stevenson has made it very clear that he can fight at 135 pounds. His only reason for going up in weight is for certain fights. Former unified lightweight and WBO junior welterweight champion Teofimo Lopez was recently knocked out in a strong showing. Stevenson now has 22 wins, 2 losses, and 0 draws. He has 13 knockout wins. Even though he was clear-headed, the WBC quickly took away his 135-pound title, giving him little time to decide what to do next. Stevenson has said many times that he will stay at 135 pounds unless a very rare chance comes up.
Or from him, sorry, which was $100,000. Now, a lot of you might say, well, one second, his last fight wasn't for the WBC, it was for the WBO and the ring title. Why did the WBC want any money from him? The WBC have a clause, I think it's either 7.3 or 7.4, yeah, where even if you do not fight for the WBC belt, if you're a champion of their belt, i.e. which Shakur Stevenson was, you have to pay 50% of the sanctioning fee as though the WBC belt was on the line. Does that make sense? Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to find it and read it out to so I'm not paraphrasing, because this is quite important and I think it's a joke. I think it's a joke. I really do. All right. Okay, yeah. All right, rule 7.3. I'm going to put this on this.
He has also said he wants to fight Lamont Roach, who was recently ranked second by the WBC at 135 pounds. Stevenson has never said that he plans to stay at the weight of 140 pounds that he is now. Analysts say that the DBC's rushed management processes didn't take Stevenson's goals or his perfect record into account. This makes people wonder how the organization makes decisions and deals with top fighters, as well as what Stevenson plans to do next.
Stevenson made it abundantly clear that he's a 135-pounder. He's going up in weight just for situational fights. He just defeated 2-division world champion, former unified lightweight, and now former WBO junior welterweight superstar, Teofimo Lopez, in dominating fashion. He's now 22 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 13 wins by way of knockout. After a beautiful performance, a dominating performance, the WBC, in a rush to do nothing,
Industry experts say that Shakur Stevenson's move to the 140-pound weight class makes boxing much more interesting. He could go back to 135 pounds, but after his huge win over former 2-division champion Teofimo Lopez, that choice seems less appealing. Analysts think that the WBO strap and lineage title he now has are more important at 140 pounds than they were when he was at his original weight. There are some big fights that could happen in this class, like a challenge to WBO welterweight king Devin Haney, which could be one of the most exciting fights in 2026. There are also other great fighters in the 140 pounds class who are often called elite boxers. These fights give Stevenson important and competitive opportunities that help his career and the sport as a whole.
This dude, Shakur, has told the world, I'm a 135-pounder. I plan on competing at 135 unless there's a situation that presents itself. You got Lamont Roach, who you elevated to the number 2 fighter in the WBC at 135. Right? Shakur says yesterday, I'm willing to fight Lamont Roach. We're going to make it happen. Right? No.
At the moment, Keshin Davis holds the WBO required position at 140 pounds, but a fight with Stevenson is not likely. This shows how difficult it is to balance mandatory obligations with appealing matchups. Many people think that Stevenson's move to 140 pounds is good for his reputation, sets him up for bigger fights, and makes the fights more exciting for fans while keeping his title as one of the best undefeated boxers of all time.
He's in a 140-pound division. I think there's more attractive fights in the 140-pound division, because if you would have stood, if you would have gone back to the lightweight division, Muay Thai would probably be the most intriguing matchup, and I don't know if after beating Teofimo Lopez, that I think that would have been going backwards. I believe that the WBO strap that he got right now and the lineage title that he got on is more valuable in the 140-pound division than going back to the 135-pound division. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that he could also petition to beat the WBO mandatory to the welterweight champion in the WBO in Devin the Dream Haney. I think that would be an attractive matchup in 2026 following that type of performance versus T.
That's all for the video today. Watch out. Until the next time.